There's a subject. Many of you may not know what the context means. The word is you know better. When you know better, you're expected to do better in terms of like you were indoctrinated or raised in a certain way. Check out the sound. This is a cornucopia thing, and it has a good sound. So I'll give you a good example of this and what it means, how it's spelled out. It's a word. It's like a code word, but what does it actually mean? So I went once to shul by bicycle, and I parked it outside the shul. And then some younger rabbi who was kind of like upset and disturbed by it, so he mentioned it to me, but in a very he wasn't so polished. He wasn't so he didn't know how to communicate. There are those who are more sophisticated, but he wasn't. So it made it less fun to listen to, right? But he's saying the same thing that anyone else is telling you. He says, go riding your bike on Shabbos with your earphones, because I was listening to something while I ride. It's the most pleasurable way. And it wasn't, obviously I know that he can't do that ever, even though it may be considered a minor offense in terms of the laws of Shabbos. But the way he was raised, it's very far-fetched for him to do such a thing. So I know where he's coming from, because I come from the exact same place he was raised. As a matter of fact, I think I was raised even more strict and more into the learning and stuff like that. And I'm a little older than him, so I have all those things. So I know more than him where he's coming from, right? Just on the basic level, even on the religious level, not on the academic, but on the religious, I've been deeper in it. But he was offended. So I thought, okay, what can I say, right? Tell him I'm not religious. He doesn't catch. Good example of that. One time we had a bottle. It wasn't kosher. It was wine that didn't have a kosher symbol on it. So those who are trained to only drink kosher wine wouldn't drink of it. It's just a good example. The same person. And I'm no longer religious. So I had this bottle covered with a brown bag. He thought I'm covering it because someone shouldn't see it, which is a very strict law of Shabbos that it's not or weekday. Someone who's not Shomer Shabbos or not observant is not supposed to really touch it, but some believe they can't even see it. So he thought that's why I'm covering the bottle. But the real reason I'm covering the bottle is because it doesn't have a hechsher. It's not kosher. So I held myself from laughing because it was evidently humorous the way he was thinking of it. And so in a way, you could even give him the benefit of doubt that he never really processed the concept of secular, of what does it mean to go from believing to non-believing, and from religious to secular, and from childhood practices to maturity and responsibility. So he doesn't know that. But he was very upset. So my response was, back to the first about the bicycle. Well, there are other people in the congregation that ride the bicycle on Shabbos, and those who drive. I mean, are you disturbed by them? And his response was, no, but you know better. And of course, I've heard this before. It wasn't like surprising. But I gave it a second thought and said, what does this mean, you know better? Because if I know better, then could you tell it to me again? We forget. People forget things. It's a very big subject in religion, is about people forgetting and becoming comfortable, and habits become what they call rusty. They need to be oiled. Many of the religious leaders used to speak very much on this subject, telling the younger religious training religious clergy to look out in the community. Those who habit becomes like a second nature, and they saw this as a danger for some reason. So if I know better, could you tell it to me again? And the answer is, it's not that you know better, it's that you were indoctrinated into this habit and it became tradition. So that's what you know better means. Because you've always done it this way, so you're not expected to question it, because we already got you. We got you. We settled you in. We told you you're going to sit in this seat. You can't change your seat on the flight. That's the very interesting thought.